Hello and welcome back to the Creative Differences Podcast. I'm Dallas, aka the Spice King, and I think it's been weeks since I've talked about Blindspotting on this podcast, so I'm ready to get back into it.
I'm Gabby, and I didn't do any of my assignments this week.
I'm Colin, and I did, of the assignments, I did the one I was probably least interested in.
Yeah.
And I'm Demi, and there wasn't enough Harley Quinn standing for me last time, so here I am. Also, my Black Widow count has reached 4 times in theaters, which was my goal. Welcome to another episode of the Creative Differences Podcast, your one-stop shop for movie reviews, Fancast Fridays, Throwback Thursdays, and a number of other pop culture-related items. Today, we have another jam-packed episode to catch up on movies we missed while I was on vacation, because apparently things stop when I'm gone. Today, we are reviewing...
That is not actually true. We recorded a whole episode while she was gone.
Because I planned it. Welcome.
That feels a little rude, to be honest.
That's slightly inaccurate, but it's fine. I mean, yeah, but you wouldn't know.
Today, we are reviewing The Suicide Squad, as well as Jungle Cruise, Blindspotting, and The Green Knight.
Yes, it's going to be a busy one. Before we do all of that stuff, get into all these movies and the best show of the year, yes, I said it, please like and subscribe because I want to get famous so I can work with David and Rafa and all the people involved with Blindspotting. To me.
Yeah.
What's first?
First up on our list is The Green Knight, directed and written by David Lowery, starring Dev Patel, Alicia Vikander, Joel Edgerton, Sarita Chowdhury, and Ralph Ineson as the Green Knight. King Arthur's headstrong nephew embarks on a daring quest to confront the Green Knight, a mysterious giant who appears at Camelot. Risking his head, he sets off on an epic adventure to prove himself before his family and court. It's pretty good.
I don't know if Colin's in the mic. Colin said, "How's that head game, though?" To which Timmy responded, "It's pretty good."
Anyway, my review. What an amazing movie. From the moment it started, I just knew I was in for something incredible, and I was not disappointed. We make a joke on here occasionally, cinema. That's this movie. It is absolutely cinema.
Oh,
that is what this is. David Lowery's direction is incredible. Everything about this movie might just be perfect. I would have to watch this movie several times to fully analyze and catch all of the symbolism that is in it. It does such a great job of embodying what it's like to read legends and myths of this kind. The story is simple, but it's also really weird at times. Not always, but at times it gets a little weird. And it's very much about defining who you are as a person. And I personally cannot wait to see what Lowery does with Peter Pan and Wendy, because that will probably be dope. I am a huge Peter Pan fan, so I'm excited to see if he gets to bring even half of the creativity that he brought to this movie to that adaptation. The film is visually stunning. I love the use of lighting in it and how it shows just how easy it is to change the tone with a simple practical change. Honestly, I probably could talk about the visuals of this movie all day long and how perfectly it pushes the story along. It's so good. Everything is so good. Dev Patel's performance is great. To be expected. Dev Patel is a fantastic actor. Alicia Vikander is also amazing whenever she is on screen. The entire cast is really just brings it. But Dev Patel is the one who has most of the screen time. It's following him. So he's got to carry the movie, and he does it very, very well. I was also pleasantly surprised to see Erin Kellyman in this movie. I love her. She's great, and I would like her to thrive. So, yeah, that's all I've got to say about The Green Knight. It's probably a perfect movie. There you go. That is my review. It is such a good movie. I came out of it and was just blown away by how good it was. And also, I'm a big Arthurian legend fan. But even outside of that, it's just a really, really good movie. Although it is probably not a movie for the general audience. I will say that.
It's A24, right?
It is A24.
Oh, yeah, that checks out.
We already know.
Yeah.
They don't make movies for the general audience.
Although, I had somebody at work that was frustrated. He was like, I'm just tired of all these mainstream movies that are coming out. And I just feel like you don't really get he just didn't seem like somebody that, or he'd kind of given up on movies and things. And he said, we're not really making good art in terms of movie. And
Go watch The Green Knight.
And I was like, A24 movies, dude, they're weird.
Yeah.
They're art house AF, but they're art house in a way that's a little bit more approachable.
Yeah.
And he went and watched The Lighthouse, and I was like, watch out with that one. And then he came back and he's like, I don't know how I feel about it, but I get what you mean by that we still are making those kinds of movies.
Yeah, we still make them. They're just not heavily marketed. That's not where the money is put into. Because, these studios survive on the big blockbusters.
Yes.
Yeah.
So not a lot of marketing goes towards movies like The Green Knights. But if you've heard of it, and if you can, you should check it out. I'm pretty sure it's going to be on video on demand pretty soon. So when you have the chance, definitely check it out because it is phenomenal. God, it's good.
I feel like A24's slogan should be A24, dude. They're weird.
Or A24, good luck.
I wouldn't even say that this movie is like that weird. It's just weird in comparison to most like coming of age movies because like I said, it's like reading an actual legend. And in those legends, things happen that don't have any clear explanation. It might be magical or it might be something of your imagination or, it's one of those types of things. And the movie like really like digs into that. All right, next up, because I'm still the only person who saw this movie. This is why I said we're playing catch up.
Again, nobody did homework this week. Okay, I didn't do my homework.
Yeah, don't say nobody's because you didn't watch anything.
You didn't watch anything.
I'm just trying to catch up.
I also went to go see Jungle Cruise, directed by Jamais Collier, Sarah. I hope I pronounced his name correctly. I don't know, man. Written by Glenn Ficarra, John Requa, and Michael Green, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Emily Blunt, Jack Whitehall, Jesse Plemons, and Edgar Ramirez. Dr. Lily Houghton, I hate that last name, enlists only because you look at it and I'm like, how am I supposed to pronounce this?
Yeah.
But yeah, Dr. Lily Houghton enlists the aid of wisecracking skipper Frank Wolf to take her down the Amazon in his ramshackle boat. Together they search for an ancient tree that holds the power to heal, a discovery that will change the future of medicine. So, Jungle Cruise. It's a really fun adventure movie that feels like the love child of The Mummy and Pirates of the Caribbean.
Ooh.
And
I can see that.
I love that for it because I love The Mummy and I love Pirates of the Caribbean.
True. That was your vibe.
It's definitely my vibe. It's been a while since we've had a movie like The Mummy, so I kind of like that this movie kind of falls into that same sort of adventure romance genre.
Yeah.
It's very nice. I like it.
Have you seen, this is unrelated.
Oh,
But
God.
have you seen those pictures on like those memes where it's like the cast of The Mummy? It's like my sexual orientation
Yeah.
is the cast of The Mummy.
And every time I see one, I'm just like,
Oh, relatable.
it's pretty relatable. It's accurate.
That's Demi.
That's pretty.
That's her vibe.
It's not just my vibe. It's a lot of people's vibes.
so many people's vibes. There's entire like Facebook groups dedicated to
Just the Mummy
just
cast.
thirsting over the whole cast.
And you know what? That's fair. Let people like what they like. Anyway, speaking of attractive cast members, Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt have so much individual charisma.
Yeah, fair.
It's ridiculous. It's like oozing off the screen. And then like you see them together and it's like even more charisma oozing off the screen. I love Frank and Lily and I hope that they do. I know that The Rock said that they are having, or they have had by the time this episode comes out, a meeting about a sequel.
Nice.
So I hope that there is one because I would like to see that relationship progress because, man, there is a quote-unquote kissing scene in that movie that had me weak.
It's a quote-unquote kissing scene?
Yes, because it's not technically a kiss, but it's a kiss. Anyway, McGregor, who was played by Jack Whitehall, is the perfect sibling third of the trio. Like, The Mummy had Jonathan.
Right.
So-
Okay, I got you.
Jack Whitehall is kind of the Jonathan character,
Mhm.
but scared of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, Jonathan was also kind of was.
He was more done with everything, but yes.
That's it. Jonathan was done with everything. McGregor doesn't want to be here anyway
It was like,
and
why?
is scared of everything.
Why?
So, but they're great. One of my biggest critiques I think I have with the movie is that there should have just been one villain. I think Edgar Ramirez's Aguirre had the potential to be much more emotionally impactful as a villain if he had been given more screen time. There is a very cool plot twist that I actually did not see coming about halfway through the movie, 3/4 of the way through the movie. I don't remember, but he's also a part of that plot twist, and I kind of wish that they had played with that a little bit more earlier on. However, Jesse Plemons always plays a really good villain.
He's great.
So-
Shout out to Jesse Plemons.
Yeah, but the obstacles and conflicts in the movie are plentiful and enjoyable to watch. Adventure movies are just awesome because they always have to find more creative ways to do action scenes than just fighting people.
Yeah.
So this movie has that in spades. The composer went extremely hard on this movie, especially in the expository flashback that there is. Oh my gosh. I was like, where are the guitars coming from?
Oh, I
was
love
like,
it when they do that.
I was like, this is wild.
Electric or acoustic?
Electric.
Oh,
I think it was an electric guitar.
Dude, that's my okay.
Maybe it was an electric cello.
Also random. I'll listen. I'll tell you. In Pirates of the Caribbean, you know how when they all the kings go down to that island and it's like a guitar solo.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
The composer went hard for this. It was great.
Love it.
Also, I think that the writing probably could have been a little bit better on this movie because I feel like it's average, but like, I'm like, yeah, this is a good, solid action film, adventure film.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, there's always next time, seeing as they're probably going to make a sequel. And last but not least, Disney is probably not going to do it, but give McGregor a boyfriend in the sequel.
Yes.
You know they won't.
They probably
No,
won't,
they won't.
but
You know they won't.
No,
they gave him a
they're
pretty
not
good
gonna do
coming
that.
out scene, though. So.
Ooh, but no, they're not gonna. They're not brave enough. And yes, I am calling you out, Disney. I love you,
I
but
can
I'm calling you
dream.
out.
I can dream. McGregor deserves one. But that's it. So if you're interested in a fun adventure movie that is kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean or kind of like The Mummy, this might be the one for you.
Nice.
Dope.
Next up on the list, we have The Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad.
Gabby, what?
Did you,
I don't know
did
what
you
I'm
look up
doing.
the-
Yeah, I did.
I just want to participate.
She has to find a way somehow.
Yeah, just make it spicy with a the Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad is written and directed by James Gunn. You know James Gunn. He was fired by Disney and then he wasn't. It's the whole thing. It stars Idris Elba, John Cena, Margot Robbie, Joel Kinnaman, and Viola Davis.
And Daniela Melchior.
There's just so many people.
Okay, no. She deserves to have her name said in this list of people because she's amazing.
Okay, but every
Pete
time we do
Davidson
this,
was there,
Pete
too.
Davidson,
No.
David Dasmalkian, freaking
Okay, but that he
Jai
also
Courtney.
he also deserved to have his name in there.
Steve Aggie and Sylvester
Stallone.
Stallone.
Sylvester
And-
Stallone,
Sylvester
Taika Waititi,
Stallone?
Yeah.
Taika's in this? Oh yeah, Shark.
No, but now we're just naming out people
All
who
right,
have
so-
small roles.
Taika's
All
not
right,
the shark.
but I mean, where
No,
do you?
Daniela actually has a lot of screen time in this movie, though.
I stopped at 5, so that's what happened. And now we're at like
who's
8.
Taika?
We're not
Why
gonna
don't
get
you
to
watch
it
the
because
movie?
it's a whole thing. But yeah, you'll
Damn it.
eventually watch the movie.
Okay,
and
okay,
then
okay.
you can know
Anyway.
things that we all know about it. Summary: Supervillains Harley Quinn, Bloodsport, Peacemaker, and the collection of nutty cons at Bel Rev Prison join the super
Nutty
secret, super shady
cons.
Task Force X as they are dropped off at the remote, enemy-infused island of Corto Maltese.
Okay, right off the top, is it Bel Rev or Bel Reeve? Because
She
both
said Bel
movies do
Reeve
it
in this
different
movie.
ways. And she said Bel Rev in the first one.
She
so
did.
which is it?
I feel like it would be Bel Rev
I'm going with Belle Reeve this time.
because
This is the reboot.
Gabby, you're a linguist.
No, I'm not. I
Well,
lived with
you're
linguists.
our linguist.
Okay, to be fair,
It's French. How would you say it?
that's not how you would say it.
What's not
I
how
actually
you
took
would say
3
it?
semesters of French, and you went to Gabby.
Yeah, she's got a point. You
I
should go to
took
her.
3 years of French, but I don't remember it, so go to Jimmy.
Also, I'm horrible at French.
But yeah, no, it wouldn't be Reeve or Rev because an E has an sound.
What would it be?
It would be Belrov, something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to go with Belle Reeve because that's how Amanda Waller said it in this movie.
It can't matter any less.
It
We've been talking
doesn't.
about this for like 5 minutes.
We have not.
Colin,
Me.
you haven't said anything today because you
Yeah.
didn't watch the other 2 movies.
This
So
is true.
tell us about how you felt about the Suicide Squad.
It's a movie.
It is a movie.
If you like what James Gunn does, I guess you'll like this. I don't know. It didn't do much for me, but
It's an action
It's-
movie. We don't expect it to do
no,
much
it's
for you.
not that. It's not because
It's
it's an
the
action
James-
movie. It's the James Gunn.
It is very James Gunn. Like you said in the group chat, it's unfettered James Gunn, which I was watching the movie and I thought, this ain't for everybody. Like, obviously, no movie is for everyone, but this is definitely, there are a lot of people who would be turned off by a lot of the stuff in this movie. I was turned off by a lot of the stuff in this movie, but in general, I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. I'm not super imposed to like graphic violence. I don't enjoy it, but it doesn't make me not like the movie.
You're not sensitive to it,
Yeah.
which is probably what a market research would ask you. It'd be like, are you sensitive to graphic violence?
How do you feel about decapitations and people being ripped in half?
Oh God.
How do you feel about people being eaten?
Yeah.
Oh no.
This is one for the Vor crowd, Colin? Would you say? No?
No,
Vorte.
because Vor is about like getting swallowed, but you don't really
Mm.
die. It's a whole thing.
Mm.
Also-
So
Oh my
Did
God.
you have a story about getting swallowed, Gabby?
Not me getting swallowed, but
What?
did you know that that like
Where's this
if
going?
No, I will. It's not sexual.
I'm still scared.
So there was these. I think they're like either they're like deep sea like fishermen that like went down to collect some stuff, and one of them accidentally got swallowed by a whale, brought up to the top, and then the whale realized, oh no, I think I swallowed somebody, and spit him out. Like, can you imagine?
That sounds horrifying.
No, thank you. But though, because whales, like, they're like, we don't eat people. It was like, oh no. And then, so they think the whale brought him up to the top because it felt bad and it didn't want to leave him. He was like, oh no, I swallowed you. But like,
He
I'll
needs
bring
to
you
breathe.
back up.
Oh,
Could you imagine?
We've been talking for 5 minutes and have barely gotten into our thoughts on this movie, which is hilarious.
Let's go, but we can go on.
Yes, tell me what you think of the movie.
I think my initial reaction when I first came out was funny, action-packed, gruesome, and gross.
Yeah, it's extremely disgusting.
Yeah,
Oh,
when James Gunn said he had the freedom to kill anyone, I didn't believe him at first, and within the first 15 minutes, I was fearing for everybody's life. I was like, oh no, he meant it. Like, he literally can kill anybody. Oh my gosh, nobody's safe.
Oh.
It was interesting because given who died early on,
Yeah.
I was thinking about it and I was upset about some of them. I was like, oh, I wanted to see them go further. But then looking back, it made sense given stuff I won't get into because then people are going to be like, oh, wait, I think he's going to die. I don't want to do that.
Don't want to do
But
that.
yeah, after a while, I was like, oh, okay, I get what they're doing. That sucks for all these people who died. But I mean, it's good for everybody else.
It is a Suicide Squad movie, so
Yes, they definitely earned
There
the
should
name
be
with
death.
this one.
Oh,
There was so much death.
they earned it this time around. Oh, there was so much death. Dallas, what did you think? Well, I mean, I guess you
Yeah,
kind of said
You know,
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's gross. I enjoyed it.
it's very gruesome. But yeah, I thought the story was like very simple and straightforward.
Mhm.
But I thought it was a lot of fun, and I thought it was very well done. I also loved the creative use of chapter headings in this movie and the way that they
Yeah.
would pop up.
Those were fun. It like gave me Scott Pilgrim vibes.
Yeah,
The way that the words would come on screen.
Oh.
I like that.
yeah, I like the way. And when the first time it pops up, which is gruesome in and of itself,
Yeah.
I was like,
So
I actually
very
laughed at that
Zombieland?
one because I was like, oh no, really? This is what we're doing?
So like Zombieland-ish?
Not exactly.
No,
it's
not
a different
really.
kind of gruesome.
Okay.
Yeah. The cast in this movie, incredible.
They're great. Freaking. It's funny because it's not surprising, but it's always refreshing to see John Cena be in this kind of role because
He's great.
I know he's funny already,
Oh, he's hilarious.
but he
in
is
this movie.
so funny in this movie. Just the ridiculous things he does and says, and his back and forth with Bloodsport.
I was gonna say I love his
My
dynamic
favorite
with
dynamic in
Bloodsport.
the movie. Idris is great. We all knew that, but
yeah.
just to see someone like him go all in for this ridiculous movie
Yeah.
is because we've seen Margot do this character twice.
And she's great.
Yeah, and
at
she's
it.
great. We know John Cena can do the silly stuff, but Idris Elba, you don't think about this kind of stuff when you think Idris Elba.
You know, he's usually the straight man.
Yeah,
And he still kind of is in this movie. But
Right.
you can only be so straight in this movie.
interesting phrasing. I like it. But yeah, the cast is great. Even the supporting cast, Storm Reed is in this movie for like 2 scenes.
That first scene that she's in, oh my gosh.
It was a lot. It was,
Way to earn your R rating real quick.
which is funny because I was watching it with Kayla and Jordan. The more we were learning about Bloodsport, I was like, oh, he's Deadshot, but he's British. And then
And not a good father.
and then he has a daughter, and oh yeah, Deadshot. But then they talk to each other like, oh no, he's not Deadshot.
He's not.
This is not a good relationship.
Yeah. No, I think James Gunn did a really good job handling the characters in this movie. James
Mhm.
Gunn is really good with this ensemble sort of thing. Like, he knows how to balance the screen time, I would say, and how much you learn about each character in a way that
Yeah.
doesn't feel like you haven't learned enough about these characters,
Mhm.
but also like I haven't spent too much time with these characters, but I still understand them. I know their motivations. I know what their desire is. And that's
Yeah.
enough for me to know this is a lived in person, even if I don't know what happened before this movie started.
Yeah, he's really, really good at it.
Yeah, and he does that really well with this one. We were talking about John Cena. I thought as Peacemaker, it was very interesting to make him a foil to both Bloodsport and Rick Flag,
Yeah.
especially in that third act.
Oof.
Oh my God.
Also, I love Rick Flag in this movie.
He's great.
He's so and I knew he had it in him. Joe Kinnaman, I knew you could do it. He was having just so much more fun, and the character looked happier despite the situation not being one you should be happy in. But they're just
He got used to his
he
circumstances.
was great. He had team chemistry. He felt like a leader, kind of, because Bloodsport is also he's Idris Elba, so he's the leader.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was
this
great.
movie, I was like, I didn't realize how much I loved Rick Flag until
Mhm.
I was watching it. I was like, oh, Joel Kinnaman is so
He
good
was
right
really
now.
good.
He's really great. Margot Robbie just continues to stun as Harley Quinn. Like, I'm sorry, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn is one of the best things about the current DC era. It's definitely like one of the top 5 things. Like, she's so good at it.
It's so interesting that they're like slowly turning up the notch on her crazy.
Yeah.
Because there's certain lines in this movie where I'm just thinking, Harley, what are you talking about? You're clearly not in the same scene with everyone else.
No.
But another thing about the way James does the visuals is we see that.
Oh, yeah.
Like the scene where she's going through the whole
her fight sequence. Which, by the way, the start of that fight sequence, when she lifts herself up, I was like,
all right,
is
Margo.
that Margo? Because the strength on that woman.
I was like, I see you. But yeah, there were, in case you forgot, she's
Insane.
not all there upstairs.
She's insane.
And I think James Gunn did a great job of continuing her arc from Birds of Prey, even though you don't have to watch Birds of Prey to really understand where she is in this movie.
Right.
But I do think that Birds of Prey adds context to that.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I think that he did a great job, even though he didn't read the Birds of Prey script until like way later in writing the film or whatever. It was just something that this was just a storyline that he figured this had to be Harley's storyline.
That makes sense.
And I was like, wow, well, that's impressive since you didn't know what was happening in Birds of Prey when you wrote this.
Yeah.
That this is where it led to. Daniela Melchior.
She's fantastic.
Oh, my God.
Ratcatcher, too.
Stole my heart as Ratcatcher,
She was so adorable and just
relatable
a light in this dark-ass movie. And Sebastian is the cutest rat in the world.
Oh, my God.
I
Like,
love
literally.
Sebastian.
So, like, coming out of the movie, I was like, my favorite character is Harley, but it's Harley because she's the veteran, and I've loved Harley for so long.
Yeah.
Ratcatcher 2. If Harley wasn't in this movie, Ratcatcher 2 is like, she's my favorite newcomer.
Oh my God.
She's fantastic.
I want to watch this so bad now because I was really excited to watch Ratcatcher.
She is.
You're going to love her.
Oh,
Okay,
she's
good.
so good. And she's so, I was like, you warm my heart so much, and I want you to be in more things, and I don't know how that's possible.
Her sad eyes. I wanted to watch her on screen.
She's so good.
She's fantastic.
And then Viola Davis is somehow more intimidating as Amanda Waller this time around.
I don't know about more, but at least as much.
I was afraid for people's lives at the end of this movie from Amanda Waller, not from anything else, but from Amanda Waller.
Given everything I've seen, live action and animated, there's no point when Amanda Waller's on screen and I feel like everyone's okay. I'm just watching every time she's pop. This is bad. This is bad for somebody. I don't know who yet, but we're gonna find out.
Viola Davis is so good at it.
She was perfect. She is perfect for Amanda Waller.
She's so good. And then David Desmalchian.
Yes, I'm
He's
so happy for him.
Underrated, but he always gives a really solid performance, and he's done it in several superhero movies as well.
Yeah, but this is
Baba
the
Yaga.
biggest.
Baba Yaga.
Yeah, he's great in Ant-Man. He was really good for the 18 seconds he was in The Dark Knight.
He's even on The Flash as a villain.
No, I don't know if I
I'm
got
sorry.
that far.
Polka Dot Man has a significant impact in this movie.
Yes.
Polka Dot Man is in this movie.
Polka Dot Man is amazing.
He's
Oh my
a
God.
major player in this movie. And he's fantastic. We get his little backstory, which James is good at, like you said. He knows
How much to give you.
who we need a lot of backstory from and who we just need, okay, this is their deal, just so you know. Because Ratcatcher, we get a lot more. Bloodsport, obviously, we get a lot more.
Harley, he plays off to the side because we already know Harley. You just kind of need her there when you need her.
Yeah. King Shark is mostly a punchline.
I love him.
Shout out to everyone involved. But yeah, he's interesting. He's just so lovably dumb.
He's such a good boy.
I mean,
Aw.
okay.
He
He eats people.
most of the time. He's not eating the good people. He almost, but he
Yeah,
doesn't
okay.
eat the good people.
He's a shark. He's hungry. It's fine. But yeah, Ratcatcher, Polka Dot Man, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
He has way more significance than I expected, and I was so happy for him. Also, just the visuals of his powers.
Yeah.
Like, everything looks good in this movie, obviously, but
Yo, if you see it in IMAX like I did, my
Yeah.
God.
the colors and the flying and the dots and the polka and the man.
Apparently, James Gunn, one of the reasons he did Polka Dot Man is because you typed into Google most ridiculous DC character and it came
Dumbest DC
up.
character.
Yeah.
Honestly,
He
I
was
feel like
this is my moment.
I was looking at the list of characters and I thought he went for the most obscure he could find for a lot of these.
Yes.
Because
You'll never make a movie with any of them, most likely.
Yeah, he was. I can kill any of these characters I want to because who cares about freaking arm fall off boy?
And then you find out later that people do care.
Somebody's
Someone always
Somebody's on the
cares.
internet like, how dare you kill off random villain number 4?
There's 7 billion people on this planet. Someone's gonna care.
Yes. It sucks
But
because I
also,
can't
who
give any
cares?
specific examples because
No.
I don't want to say who died.
No spoilers.
But these characters are so obscure.
So many of them. Okay, before we run out of time, though,
Mm-hmm.
I do want to say I really like the cinematography on this movie. There are like several shots that I really love, like the rain shot when
Yeah.
they're walking through the rain. Ooh,
That's great.
Ooh, man. And then I especially like the camera movement in some of this movie. The action sequences, as we said, gruesome, but some of them are also very cool.
Yeah.
The one in that small little, I'm gonna call it a village, between Bloodsport
Oh my God.
and Peacemaker. James Gunn literally said he was like, I actually thought we might have went too far on that one.
It was so much, but it was so
good.
great. And the way it ends is just, oh my
my
gosh.
gosh.
That's what they're doing?
Yeah.
But even their dialogue in that scene is hilarious.
Yes. There's a pretty cool. It's a good. I don't know if I would say it's cool. It's a good theme that pops up at the end of this movie that relates to real life, and I'm not going to say what it is because I feel like that's a bit of a spoiler.
Yeah, I'm going to stay on that for a second just because the movie's darker than I expected,
Yes.
but not in a way that I expected. I expected, it's going to be dark humor. Someone's going to die, and it's going to be a funny way for them to die. But it gets really serious
Very
in
quickly.
some really, really dark ways.
Yeah.
And I was not ready for James Gunn to do that.
Also, shout out to Peter Capaldi who plays the Thinker.
Yes.
He's great.
He is a lot of the reason why it gets really serious.
Oh yeah, got real serious real quick.
Wasn't ready
But
for that.
also still somehow James Gunn manages to do something very, very serious and very, very dark. But also we're going to insert a giant kaiju starfish as well. And not only are we going to insert it in here, it's actually kind of scary.
Yeah, it's terrifying
it's
given what it can do.
terrifying. It's horrifying
You
actually.
know what this man can do?
Like yeah, it's wild.
We got a kaiju up in there.
Oh my god.
The soundtrack is pretty great. I started singing Rain under my breath when it came on during the movie, and I was happy to hear Oh No actually used in the credits.
Yo, I want to talk about that. So, for, seasoned listeners of the podcast, we did an episode on Fandom like a year ago.
Yeah.
And during that, they did a roll call where they listed everyone and who they played, except for Taika, they didn't tell us who he plays. And that song is playing, and I'd never heard it. And I thought,
I hadn't either, and it sounded so cool.
this song is dope as hell. I got to pull out Shazam. It's Oh No by Grandson, who I had never heard of. And then I've been listening to it ever since. So then when this song came on in the movie, I'd heard it in the trailer.
Yeah.
And I thought,
Rain.
I have
yeah.
to remember in the credits to look for what the song might be called. Fortunately, it's called Rain, which makes sense. It was raining. And they say rain a lot. And then I see it's freaking Grandson again. I
Yep.
was like, yo, this dude is 2 for 2 with me. And Jessie Reyes, she's featured in the song. She's
Yes.
great too. So, but yeah, I've been playing those 2 songs on repeat.
Also, did you catch the Guardians cameo in the movie? There is a Guardian in this movie.
Well,
Which I did catch it, but I couldn't. My brain could not. Like I was like, "Who
Like
is
an
this?" I know who
actor
it
or a
is. Yeah,
character?
there's an actor.
okay. It's just so confusing because there's so many people who James Gunn works with a
No,
lot.
but this is like legitimately like a Guardian of the Galaxy
Oh,
is in
wow.
this movie.
Okay. Oh, yes. I forgot. But I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because we weren't sure. Is that? Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
I saw them and I was just like, my brain cannot think of your name right now, but you're familiar and I know you.
Yeah.
What?
Watch the movie.
Oh, I know who it's gonna be.
Last
No,
thing that
I know.
Last thing I want to say though, and it's just these 2 very small details that I really, really just loved about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Bloodsport's weaponry and his helmet are some of the coolest
Yo.
weapons I've ever seen in a movie.
That helmet is so dope.
His
and the
weapon
guns.
is yes,
It's so ridiculous.
but also it can become a sword and like it's the coolest.
Bloodsport's amazing.
Bloodsport's weapon is the coolest, and also Harley's "Live Fast, Die" clown jacket, as well as there was one point in the movie where you can see her back tattoo that
Mhm.
used to say "property of Joker," but it now says "property of no one."
I didn't even notice that.
And if you look at the tattoo, you can tell that it's supposed to be that she changed. It's a cover-up tattoo. It's supposed to be a cover-up tattoo,
Right.
so she changed the letters to look like no one. So like,
Oh, I didn't even peep that.
it's so cool, and I'm really glad about those like kinds of tiny details. Also, her rotten tattoo is gone from her forehead because James Gunn found out that Margot Robbie doesn't like that tattoo either, and was like, "All right, cool, we're not using
Oh, we
it."
can get rid of it then. No one here wants that.
Nobody wants that. But yeah, the Suicide Squad. I loved it.
Yeah, it was a super fun time. It was a lot. But
I would argue to say that it's one of the best DC movies of this era that's come out. And by era, I mean like
DCEU era?
DCEU era.
Fair.
Like, I guess it's like post The Dark Knight Rises.
Right, post
era.
Nolan's whole thing that he was doing.
Post the Nolan era.
Yeah,
This is
the
one of the
confusion
best.
era that we're in now.
Yeah,
where
this
we
is
don't know what's going on.
one of the best DC movies that's come out, in my opinion.
I concur. I very much enjoyed it.
Colin.
Gabby, you're gonna like it too.
Outside
did
of the
not.
blood.
Okay. Huh?
Outside of the gruesome blood.
I mean, Colin loves serial. I mean, not
Yeah,
Colin.
I-
Gabby loves
Whoa.
serial killers. So
I don't love
Okay,
serial
cool, cool,
killers.
cool.
I am morbidly fascinated by them.
Colin.
Fascination is a form of love, an unhealthy form.
No.
But it's a form.
I don't
it's not
think
what
I
it-
agree
no,
with
no,
that
no,
definition
no,
of the word
no, no, no.
fascination. But Colin, what do you think of the movie? I mean, you told us, but give us another recap of your thoughts.
Yeah, it's not for me. Like, I'm sure some people like it. Not my thing.
Yeah, if you can't stand hardcore blood or just grossness at
or
all,
raunch, or like very, very silly jokes.
yeah, then it's not for
Very,
you.
very silly jokes in this movie.
Yeah,
But Gabby, you really like James Gunn.
I do.
You're like this movie.
this is just
It's
James,
so James
Gunn,
Gunn.
full of James Gunn.
This is his brand.
I mean, I think Margot Robbie called this his magnum opus, so
Damn. And I thought that was gonna be Guardians 3.
no, it might not be.
Yeah,
He's not making his magnum opus for Disney after what they did to him.
That's fair.
I mean, he's still gonna do his best though.
Yeah, I
mean,
mean, who wouldn't want?
He
to?
loves
better.
Guardians.
Yeah, he loves them.
Let's talk about something Colin does like,
but has not finished.
but has not finished. Blindspotting,
Yes.
the TV show, my favorite show of the year, and the year's not even over yet.
Boom.
But I don't care. The show's amazing. For those who haven't heard us talk about it before, it is a continuation of Blindspotting, the movie, written by and starring David Diggs and Raphael Casal.
The show was also created by David Diggs and Raphael Casal.
Yes, and stars Rafa, as well as Jasmine Cephas-Jones, Jalen Barron, Candace Nicholas, Littman, Benjamin Earl Turner, Atticus Woodward, Helen Hunt.
I would argue it features Raphael Casal more so than stars Raphael Casal.
I guess in screen time, yeah, but he is
And he's also credited
There
as a
a
guest
lot.
star, not as
Yeah.
he's not actually a leading character on the show.
fair. He's a star in my heart. But summary. As Ashley's partner of 12 years and father of their son, Miles, is suddenly incarcerated, leaving her to navigate a chaotic and humorous existential crisis when she's forced to move in with Miles' mother and half-sister. So I love this show.
Yep.
And every week I love it more. And Colin, what do you think of it? Or what do you think of
The
what you've
first
seen
6
of it?
episodes that you've seen.
7? No, 6.
6.
Overall, I think it's pretty solid. There are some parts of it that I just don't vibe with, but
Is it the dancing?
yes,
I love the dancing.
I can appreciate it as art. I don't see what it adds to the overall narrative, except for the one sequence in the house, because that was obvious what that was doing.
That one was, I think, the most narratively, well, until we get to the last episode, is the most narratively tethered to it, most relevant in terms of what the narrative is doing. But I feel you. I do like the dancing, but it is kind of, oh, we're doing this now sometimes. To me, thoughts?
I love the show. Probably just as much as I love the movie. Just like it's a package deal. I love the movie and I love the show. I think the show is truly a continuation in spirit and in narrative of what the original movie was doing. And doing it through a character that did not get as much screen time as everybody else in the movie.
Yeah.
And really, I think we talked about in our throwback, we were like, Ashley's the only really good person in the movie, and they're like, well, let's blot her out this time around.
In hindsight, I didn't like that we said that. I get why it was said.
Well, in the movie, she was the only one who there was no morally gray, black or white. Ashley was
they didn't show anything that Ashley's done that was
she's right.
she didn't have any questionable
Yeah,
situations.
she was.
Fair.
She had nothing questionable about her. This show is the perfect avenue to give her more flawed traits so that we can know Ashley better.
Mm-hmm.
And then still also kind of build up on Miles as well, because that is her partner.
Mm-hmm. Every character gets so much, and it's not what you'd expect from most shows. But all of the actors that I named, each of them gets moments that are hilarious. They get moments that are super serious. They each get their own separate moments, for the most part, away from everyone else to deal with their situations.
Yeah.
And it's just so perfect. They're so good.
Every episode is really well written.
Yeah.
We were talking about the dancing. I love the dancing. I just think it brings such a really interesting art form to the show. And I especially like it because there is a moment in episode 7 where Ash is talking about dancing. And I felt like that really kind of meshed it in even more, because that's how Ash sees the world.
Right.
So dancing becomes a part of the show because that's the way she sees the world.
Mm-hmm.
But also it's become really fun every week to watch the show and go, what is this dance symbolizing? What feeling are we evoking out of this dance? Or what is the narrative that this dance is telling us? And I think that's always very interesting. And it's what's going to help make the show stand out as well, outside of just doing the rap thing, because the rap thing was it was Blindspotting the movies thing.
Mm-hmm.
But now Ash also kind of has her own thing.
And speaking of the rap thing, I'm very glad that although we don't have David to do it wonderfully like he did in the movie, Benjamin Earl Turner.
Woo!
Shout out to this man.
Man.
He is.
Also, I think he wrote an episode, didn't he?
He did. And the episode that he wrote, his song plays during the credits. He's a rapper as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so he has a song that plays in the credits. He's just impressive on so many different levels. And he has a couple of those scenes that now we're rapping as part of the story.
It's almost like he spiritually is continuing the story that Colin started.
And just his character has so much range because when he first shows up, it's just, oh, this is the funny guy who can't get a burrito.
Yeah.
But by the time the season ends, there's so much more to him. And he's so great. He's my favorite character.
I love the way that the show is shot.
Yeah.
It's really beautifully shot. I love the culture.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's such an important part of Blindspotting, I feel like, is the culture.
Man, I watch the show and I'm just like, I wish I was from the Bay. Like for 30 minutes every week, I'm like, man, I wish I was from up there just so I could. Because I feel this in a way that doesn't make sense because I'm not from the Bay. But just, I don't know, I guess knowing what I know about it and knowing what is culturally relevant. And they really pack everything. Also, shout out to Rafael Casal. Every week on Instagram, he'll post like Blindspotting Easter eggs from the Bay.
Nice.
So like we reference this business and this song is from this song, and he like points out different artists and businesses from the Bay, which is fantastic. And I love it so much, even though I'm not from there.
Yeah, it's dope. And for me, it's just like I love seeing cultures and of different types. So I mean, the Bay is its own culture, so it's always interesting to me to get to see it. I think the characters are great. Actors who I've never seen before. I'm really enjoying their work on the show. The one thing that I will say that might be a critique, but also hopefully we'll get a season 2 so it won't be so much of a problem, is that there are a few storylines that come up but are not resolved.
Yeah.
And I would like to see those storylines resolved.
At least one for me.
There's 2 that I
glaring in my mind right now.
There are 2 that I absolutely need to be like resolved.
Okay, I want to talk to you about that after because is one of yours with Rainey?
Yes.
Okay, that one is
definitely. And then the other one is with Trish.
Oh, gotcha. But yeah, shout out to Trish because
Jalen Barron is so good.
Jalen Barron's amazing, and I hated Trish for a while in the show.
I couldn't hate her. I never could bring it in.
I couldn't like her because
I couldn't hate her. I was like, you're kind of irritating, but I also love you.
And this is the thing. I'm going to be reductive and maybe slightly inaccurate, but Demi likes toxic characters.
Stop that.
Demi
she
likes characters. She
just gives a lot of little sister energy,
having gray area and blah 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 blah. But short version is Demi likes toxic characters.
That's not fully true.
Not fully true, but
I like some toxic characters.
Yes, and Trish has some toxicity, especially in the beginning of the show. But
yeah, she's flawed, as everybody else is in the Blindspotting universe.
She's a different kind of flawed. Trish is built different. Let's just say that.
Trish is built different.
But by the end of the show,
listen, she's definitely her brother's sister.
But by the end of the show, I just loved her 100%. I was just so happy that we got to a point where I didn't look at Trish like I look at Amanda Waller. Like, oh no, everyone's not going to be okay.
Stop it.
I think I loved Trish because I knew that Trish was going to do something that I might not fully agree with most of the time, but it was going to be funny and amusing.
I feel, oh yeah, she's always entertaining.
She's always got something amusing to do whenever she's on screen.
But yeah, the show's great, and they build on the movie very well. They bring back Cuddy, they bring back all kinds of characters.
We get cameos from like almost everybody.
So many great cameos. I love it. But yeah, that's Blindspotting. I really hope David is still listening to our podcast. Not even still, because I don't think he is. But I really hope that he hears this specific episode.
Okay. We'll send him this one. Anyway. Next up, we're not going to do our What You've Been Watching thing because we just talked about 3 movies and a TV show.
Yes, so we've been talking for a while.
We're going to discuss some recent news. Not a lot of news because, like I said, we've already been doing a lot of talking, but we would like Gabby and Colin to join in just a little bit.
Hey.
So, first up on the list?
First up on the list is... This one is for Colin. I mean, also me and Gabby, but mostly Colin. Sony released a new Venom trailer. Colin, you like monsters. What are your thoughts on the new Venom trailer?
See, the thing is, like, you're not wrong.
Of course
but
not.
It's more based on my love of the the first movie.
Got you.
Because that movie slaps so
I agree.
much. And this looks like I have like one issue with the trailer in that it feels like their relationship took a step backwards.
Yeah, the beginning kind of makes me feel like,
Yeah.
oh, I thought we were
Like
past
that was the
this.
whole thing, is that they were like, oh, we're both losers and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, well, if you call him a loser as an insult, what happened in the first movie? Did you just
I was like,
What?
I was like, this line is in the first movie before we got to the point when we needed to get to,
Mhm.
and now we
back
have to do this
there.
again.
Yeah.
Which
I don't know.
I enjoyed watching that, but I wanted to see them start as besties and just be besties.
Yes, but hopefully
Okay.
that's just the beginning, and then we very quickly move past that.
Yeah,
Is my hope.
yeah.
But I don't know.
Because the first movie, we had time for that.
Mhm.
Because I love Riz Ahmed, but that character does not matter.
No,
Like,
not
he
at all.
matters narratively to the story, but he's not that interesting. Riot is not one of the more notable symbiotes. He's just a gray Venom. And Riz Ahmed is a good actor, but playing a not very interesting villain.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But now we have Carnage. That's a super important thing to do with Venom's story. He's played by Woody Harrelson. We have Naomi
Yeah.
Harris in here, who hasn't said anything yet in these trailers, to my knowledge. But we have a lot to deal with, so we don't have time to go back to, oh, let's be friends. It's like, you guys
Yeah.
need to already be friends so we can get to this.
I guess that's the one thing about like not knowing Venom's history and why people like Carnage. This feels like there's that common thing in Marvel movies of the first movie they fight a version of themselves. This feels like they're doing that again. And like for me, because I don't know who Carnage is, I'm kind of like, well, that's kind of dull.
It's a weird thing because, yeah, I know that's a common complaint and fairly valid for a lot of Marvel movies, for the MCU movies. Iron Man did it, Black Panther did it, Hulk did it, but they didn't need to do that. All of these characters have a rogues gallery. Not all of them are super well known, but Killmonger wasn't super popping before Black Panther. A freaking Ironmonger, Jeff Bridges, nobody cared about him before Iron Man came out. Abomination was not a popping Hulk villain. So they could have picked anyone. They were just like, we'll do the evil clone thing. Carnage is Venom's big bad. So,
okay.
and Venom started as a villain. He hasn't always been a hero. He hasn't been a hero very often. So he doesn't have a lot of villains to pick from. If you're going to do a villain movie, you're going to have to get to Carnage. So it just sucks that it's come after 13 years of Marvel doing the fight a version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because for
And-
people like...
And Venom doing fight a version of yourself.
Yeah, and they did this in the first movie, which
Yeah.
is why I would have liked for them to just get to Carnage from the jump. But as someone who grew up loving this character, Venom, him fighting Carnage is the thing I've been waiting for.
Okay.
And Woody Harrelson's a great actor. And I think he can kill this role. And I'm very excited to see it. And to see Naomi Harris finally talk.
Gabby, thoughts on the trailer?
God.
Take
So much tongue.
your time.
I'm just kidding.
So much what?
What?
You said so much tongue?
No.
Wait.
She did say so much tongue.
Okay.
Because there is a lot of tongue.
there
in
is
that
so
trailer.
much tongue in that
I feel like you
trailer.
guys can bond over that. They have a really sweet, silent high five.
I don't know. I wish I had a little bit more context on Carnage, so I can get a little bit more excited because I feel like I missed some important like Easter eggs. But it looks exciting. I'm personally excited, and I know you guys didn't like this whole infighting that Venom and Eddie are having, but I feel like because Venom's like this cannibal alien thing, it makes sense to me that Eddie's still kind of wrangling him. Yeah, that's all I have to say
Okay.
about that.
That's fair. I'm not going to get all like push up my glasses comic book nerd.
Yeah,
Right now.
no.
We can say that for the movie.
I understand what you mean though in terms of story, just because this kind of was already done. But
Right.
to me, it like makes sense that he's still arguing with this alien. Like,
This thing still wants to eat people.
yeah, so like this makes sense to me. Like,
Well, I
this,
guess
it seems like it's gonna be their entire relationship.
See, the question that leads me to ask then, which we'll get answered as soon as we see the movie, is how much time has passed between the first one and the second one? Because like they talk about having rules, and you'd think that one of the first rules you'd set is like the parameters on eating people
Mhm.
and stuff like that. But it
You
feels
also
like they're
set
still
that
working
rule.
that out.
In the first movie,
This is true.
you can only eat bad people.
Yeah,
Also, you can just give them chocolate, venomless
Which
chocolate.
is just a bad
He
rule
does?
because
Yeah.
how do you
Oh, okay.
interpret bad?
I mean, if you're a superhero movie,
Right, but I mean, if he's got to eat more than that, and I'm saying like,
There
how
are
do
a
you
lot of bad
interpret
people.
bad people? Right, but who gets to decide?
Venom,
does.
the guy
Venom
with the
does
teeth.
or Eddie
Hashtag
does?
Vigilante.
Eddie,
does.
because remember the end of the last movie,
Right.
Bad guy, right? Yeah, bad guy. And then they chaunt that nigga.
Mm.
So it's gonna be a lot of that.
Okay.
But
cool.
also, yes, he likes chocolate. Just give him chocolate. There's a lot of chocolate.
Oh, Eddie gonna end up with some diabetes, but fair.
he's
Dark
gonna-
chocolate.
You can get that sugar-free stuff.
Oh, there you go. There you go. You're right though.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
That's Venom.
onward.
We are ready for it. Demi, do you want to take the next thing? I don't know how to say this name at all.
I don't know how to say
Gabby.
Okay, so recently it was announced that Solo Maridueña is playing Jaime Reyes in DC and HBO Max's Blue Beetle.
See, it sounds so much
That
better when
sounds
she
so
says
much
it.
better than if I would have said that.
Yeah, we would have been stumbling over our like syllables, and even when she said Jaime Reyes, it sounded so much better.
Right, I was like, oh man, I didn't even think about saying that like that.
Y'all don't need to gas me up like this.
Gabby, you're so special. We appreciate everything that you do.
Yes, we have a Blue Beetle, ladies and gentlemen. Last time we talked about an HBO Max movie, we were trying to convince WB to put their people of color on a theater screen.
This is not working out so far.
It is not. I'm really sad because this looks like great casting.
I would assume I've never seen this man.
I've never
Sorry
seen-
to this
He's
man.
in Cobra
He's in
Kai.
Cobra Kai.
I've never
He's in
seen
Cobra
Cobra Kai.
I haven't seen Cobra Kai. So again, sorry
I've
to
seen
this
a
man.
teeny bit of Cobra
However,
Kai.
What I have seen is a lot of people fan casting him as Blue Beetle.
Nice.
Oh,
So-
that's good.
Shout out to all those people who were fan casting because you won.
Yay, I love when fan casters win.
Depending
Not
on the
just
fan
'cause
cast.
we fan cast.
I love when we win.
Love when we win. Yeah, I've never seen this guy act, but I'm excited about there being a Blue Beetle movie, period. I've read a couple of Blue Beetle comics with Jaime Reyes. I love Jaime Reyes on Young Justice.
He's so fantastic.
Yeah, so obviously I'm excited to see him not on a big screen, but
Tragically.
in a movie.
Yeah.
In a movie, yes. Yeah, everything Demi said. I'm excited. I love Young Justice and his character on it. What is going to be the first DC movie, like solo movie featuring a character of color that's going to be in the theater? I'm really curious.
Aquaman 2.
I guess so.
I mean,
Okay.
as the role of the hero,
I guess-
correct?
yeah, I guess we can take that.
I think it's Aquaman 2.
All right. That's fine.
All right, that's fine.
I don't know. No disrespect to James Wan. I love you and what you do.
But also here, we also like encouraging young actors and seeing them thrive.
Definitely.
We
And
love
their
seeing new
movies.
faces.
Yeah.
Super happy for this gentleman and HBO Max because I have that. Colin, do you have thoughts?
I have no knowledge of this character, so no.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right. All right, so we covered Blue Beetle for me and Demi because we like that person,
And for
And
Gabby,
for
because
Gabby
she's been
because-
waiting for a Latino superhero.
and she can say the name. We covered Venom for Colin because he likes monsters and tongues.
Yeah.
And now we're onto something for Demi.
Yeah, they released a trailer. Well, Amazon released a trailer for their upcoming Cinderella movie, which is originally a Sony Pictures film that was going to come out in theaters. It is not. I'm sad. But yeah, I'm still excited. All the same, it's going to be Camila Cabello's acting debut, which I'm excited for because I love Camila Cabello. Also, it's a jukebox musical, and it's Cinderella.
Yay.
Jukebox musical Cinderella sounds fantastic to me.
Yep.
Because I love Cinderella stories and I love musicals. But also, Camila wrote a couple of songs for the movie. So I'm excited for that. Probably going to get an album this year, too. So the hype is real. On top of that, Idina Menzel is playing her evil stepmother. And Idina
Ooh.
Menzel is so talented. Billy Porter is playing Fab G, a.k.a. her fairy godmother. And Billy Porter is a talented, talented singer. Oh my gosh. I've actually been listening to him since I was a kid, which I realized a few months ago. Yeah, he's amazing.
Didn't your mom used to be friends with him?
My mom
Okay,
has met
yeah.
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
back in the day. Back when people, I think, still thought he was straight. Minnie Driver's in this movie, and I do love
Oh.
Minnie Driver because Phantom of the Opera.
Do we know who she's playing?
She's playing the prince's mother, and Pierce Brosnan is also in the movie, playing the prince's father. The music in the movie, there are several songs in the movie that I'm excited for, including a mashup of Somebody to Love and Seven Nation Army.
Oh my god, that's very Ella Enchanted.
Yeah, some people were pointing out that like it sounds very much like Ella Enchanted, and I'm like, maybe, but I liked Ella
Still great. And
Enchanted, but
Ella
I didn't like it
Enchanted
that
is
much.
fantastic. I loved it.
I liked it, but I didn't love it. So I'm about this. They're doing a cover of Rhythm Nation by Janet Jackson,
Interesting.
which like, yes. Am I Wrong? Shining Star. Oh, I'm sorry. It is a mashup between What a Man and Seven Nation Army.
Oh.
I'm curious as to how that's gonna work.
I'm also curious to see how that's going to
Yeah.
work.
They're doing a cover of Perfect, which I'm assuming is the Ed Sheeran version. But yeah, I'm excited Camila is also the music supervisor on this movie. And there are a couple of like, you know, little changes that they've made for this particular Cinderella. So like, spoiler alert in case you don't want to watch the trailer. But if you've seen the trailer, there is a scene. The prince chooses her, obviously, because it's Cinderella.
Yeah.
He chooses her, and she doesn't actually want to marry the prince. She actually has career ambitions that she's trying to work towards. So she's like, but what about the work that I'm trying to get done? Like I don't want to be locked up in the royal court. I want to be, you know, doing something that I love. And then the evil stepmother is actually trying to convince her to marry the prince instead of trying to keep her away from the prince.
So is that the plot of this?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Wow.
So they've this Cinderella. I don't know how you guys are gonna find out that we're no longer doing spoilers, but no, there we go. But this Cinderella is a fashion designer who is trying to open up her own shop to sell dresses. So very interesting. I'm very intrigued by the changes that they are making to Cinderella, as well as the fact that it's a jukebox musical. So
yeah,
it's in my wheelhouse, and I'm excited to see it. It comes out in September, which is very soon.
Oh yeah, next month. Wow.
Yeah, I've been hyped for this movie. I think it was on my most anticipated list, actually.
I think it was.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to get that off my list. Because sometimes we'd be sitting there and we'd be like, so this movie was on my list last year. I don't have to do that this year. Thank God.
Freaking New Mutants.
Actually, there is one movie that's going to be on my most anticipated list that was on my most anticipated list last year. But that's because I didn't look up the release date. So that's my fault, not theirs.
Right. It'd be like that sometimes.
But yeah, that's it. That's all the news we got.
Colin,
Me.
did you have any thoughts on Cinderella? Ella.
Yeah, I watched the trailer. Looked pretty unexciting. I like that they gave her some form of motivation outside of love, though. That was nice.
It's true. Oh, also, it's directed and written by the woman who did Pitch Perfect. So
Sorry.
Not Elizabeth Banks.
no.
she did pick
Kay Cannon. She also
Got it.
directed Cock Blockers.
I think the movie's just called Blockers.
Blocker. Yeah, I think
That's
it's-
right. It's just called
I was
Blockers,
like,
but
wait.
it has the
But
cock
it's-
in front of
but
the
it's
yeah.
cock blockers.
It's
yeah.
Cock Blockers.
So really, that's on you.
I mean,
No, the movie is called Blockers. You would be
yes.
correct.
I was like, whoa.
But
that sounds
She directed that. I want to say she wrote that as well. She wrote all 3 Pitch Perfect movies.
okay.
But I mean, the first one was lightning in a bottle.
Oh, yeah,
I remember
that
seeing
one.
that in theaters and being like, this movie is actually amazing.
I'm like, this is amazing. You know what it reminded me of? It was like a mix between Mean Girls and like, I'm trying to think of the movie right now, but it was like that kind of humor. Where
Yeah.
it's like, amazing.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what she's going to do with this version of Cinderella. Because this was, I mean, all her idea. So
Nice.
So that's it. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Yes, as always, thank you for listening to all of that. As even more always, thank you, Crown Digital, Brandon, and Io for putting us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you to me for editing, putting us on YouTube, and vibing with me on The Suicide Squad and Blindspotting.
I try.
Thank you, Gabby, for saying our Spanish names because you sound so much better.
We got to start making her do it instead of us.
Yeah, we'll say the rest of the sentence and then just cut to Gabby.
I love that, though. That actually should be a thing.
Yes. Thank you, Colin, for being here for the monster lovers because they need representation too. And that's what we have you for.
Hashtag
Anytime.
King Shark. Let's go.
Oh, we didn't even get into that.
Colin didn't even talk
I'm
about
very
King Shark.
disappointed that we didn't.
I mean,
I
yeah,
was waiting
because
for you to, and then you guys just glazed
I
over.
thought-
and I was like, all right.
he wasn't great in this movie.
I mean, I imagine like considering how different he is on the show, who's like great on the show.
That's oh my god, he's so Ron
But-
Funches.
Yeah. Anyway, audience, let us know what you think of The Suicide Squad, The Green Knight, and Jungle Cruise. And more importantly, have you seen Blindspotting? Let us know in the comments or hit us up on Instagram and Tumblr at Creative Differences Podcast, Facebook.com/Creative Differences PC. That's all the things. For anyone involved with Blindspotting, if you're listening, hit me up on Twitter and Instagram to let me know. I'm at a king named Simba, but only let me know if you like the podcast. Because if you didn't, I don't want to know.
You can find me, Gabby, on Instagram at Stegostoria.
You can find me on Twitter at Duck McGuck.
And you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dreamy Films. Dreamy is spelled DREEMI. Join us again next time for an episode that we have no idea what it is yet, but it'll probably be fun. So join us. Thanks again for joining us this time.
Bye. Oh wait, no, I did it early.
It's been different. Bye.
Bye.